We feel good about the prospects of a deal. It's obviously in the best interest of Iran to meet the president's demands. I think he's made his red lines in these negotiations very clear to the other side, and so we are continuing to see how these conversations go.
The United States and Iran are considering extending their ceasefire as mediators push for more direct talks in Pakistan, but America's red lines are not changing. No nuclear weapons and a completely open Strait of Hormuz. Welcome back to the second hour of the Big Money Show, everyone. I'm Jackie DeAngelis, along with my wonderful co-host, and with us for the hour, Fox Business's Lauren Simeonetti and Fox Business contributor Jonathan Honig. Great to have you both.
Thank you. Ooh.
Oh, split box.
Fun.
U.S. Central Command says the blockade of Iranian ports has completely halted Tehran's maritime trade, and at least 10 ships have turned back after approaching the U.S. Navy. And the White House is also unleashing a financial blockade on Iran. Operation Economic Fury will restore sanctions on Tehran and threaten secondary sanctions on any banks that support the regime. So will this force Iran's hand finally? Investors seem to think so. You've got markets rallying. You've got oil sliding. This week, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth saying that Iran has lost its leverage in the Strait.
The United States Navy controls the traffic going in and out of the Strait because we have real assets and real capabilities. And we're doing this blockade, performing it with less than 10% of America's naval power. The math is clear. We're using 10% of the world's most powerful Navy, and you have 0% of your Navy. That's real control.
Okay, and President Trump is announcing Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire. That begins at 5 p.m. Eastern time today. Lauren, I want to bring you in on this because you've been following the action in the Strait. And, right now, what we're understanding is that activity is limited, but some boats are passing through. The United States is in control. Iran is not playing favorites with respect to the limited number of ships that can go through. My understanding is they're working on operations to be able to sweep for some of those mines. So this is all good news.
I'd say the U.S. is in control, but Iran is still moving. I just spoke with a source with real-time tracking data, and he told me that on Karg Island, they are right now, he has a visual that they are loading 3 tankers with 5 million barrels of Iranian crude. This is the Dark Fleet. Does the U.S. know about this? I'd imagine. Maybe, just maybe, I don't know this, they're letting India, for instance, take that oil because the waiver has not expired yet. Oil already at sea where they can get it. But there is still a lot of activity happening in the Strait as we exert our control. Iran is completely running out of money and clearly running out of time because we heard War Secretary Hegseth say today, we are locked and loaded. Get to the table, sign a deal. And now you have the Israel and Lebanon talks happening. You have all sides kind of coming together as we squeeze Iran, who is definitely bleeding. That toll money, by the way, that, if you take the more northern route, the vessels that would pay Iran the toll, about $20 million a day is the estimate of how much they were making for charging such ships. I mean, that's the route that is, I would say, obliterated right now. And our words matter because we told 14 tankers, our Navy said, turn around, you're not wanted here. And they did. They didn't fight back. They didn't go, where they shouldn't go. They listened.
See, I like everything you're saying. I like everything the administration is doing right now. But Brian, what concerns me is when I hear whether it's allowed or not allowed under the technicalities of what the United States is doing, that they're putting Iranian oil on a ship.
Yeah. So,
that's not good.
Well, maybe. Okay, I don't know. I mean, you might be right. I don't know, Jackie. I 100% guarantee the U.S. knows what's going on there. No question about it. So I suppose the question is, how does that factor into the negotiations, right? If you give Iran a sense, like if you play ball, we might let you load up tankers and sell your oil. And boy, you could use that money, right? What is it, like $435 million a day? Okay, so my guess is that might be part of the negotiation. Like, here's what you could get, and here's what you'll lose. Larry hated this idea yesterday, but I'm going to throw it out there again. I think that Europe and NATO got to get their rear ends in gear and get to the Strait and start dealing with this stuff. Because
they only have 6 weeks, right?
that was my only data point of the entire show, was that Europe has only 6
running
weeks.
data.
6 weeks of jet fuel, okay? I don't, that sounds serious to me. It was serious enough that Delta Airlines had to put out a statement saying, we're trying to figure out how to deal with this, okay? So Europe has sat there and said, you know, war
Not
of
our
choice,
problem.
not our thing, you know, whatever. Your jet fuel is on the line. So you better get your little committees together and figure
summer
it out
vacation.
and send some of your stuff to the Strait of Hormuz, because the U.S. has done the hard work. But the truth is, you depend on that stuff more than we do, and it's your job to secure it. And it looks like they're moving a little bit. We shall see.
And the market itself, the equities market, doesn't seem phased at all. You know, of course, my thoughts are with the men and women of the American Armed Forces, their families, but the market has been on a real hot streak. The Nasdaq's up about 14% in just the last 2 weeks. I'll tell you what I'm looking at is where's going to be the strength? Is it going to be in the AI names that led the market the last time around, or is it going to be tailored, for example, like some of the small cap stocks we had talked about for the Instagram hit that we did? You know, other areas of the market to make money that aren't so overvalued like a lot of the AI stocks simply are. They're still trading at 30 times plus earnings, as opposed to small caps about half that.
So, Jackie, some good news on the markets that we've talked about, and then good news on economic data. A lot of people came out with this morning with the industrial production, the manufacturing data, and said, oh, was a decline? That's gross. But interesting, there is a gradual recovery in manufacturing. We saw the boom at the end of last year, and it actually is continuing. You take out the autos, the entire drop that we saw this morning was all autos. You take autos out, production rose 3% at an annual rate in the quarter, and output of business equipment advanced 4.6%. Here's other good news. I don't know if you believe Polymarket in the odds, but Polymarket is pricing in a permanent resolution between the U.S. and Iran at 60% by the end of May, 72% by the end of June. A return of normal traffic in the Strait, 60% in May, 75% in June. So again, I'm not a betting person, I'm not a predictions person, but they have been more right than not in terms of how they think things are going to go. And again, May, June, that's a month or 2 months away. And that's what the equity market, which, as you know, prices 6 months out, is already thinking. They're thinking this thing 6 months from now will not be what it looks like 2 weeks ago. And that's why you've had this monster boom rally. Could we even talk about Intel? Intel added like $100 billion in market cap, right? In 2 weeks. I mean, it has been unbelievable, the boom rally that you've seen in the first couple weeks of April alone.
See, sometimes I think the market gets it wrong or gets over its skis about being excited. The prediction markets, however, are with these direct bets on timelines. People are putting their money where their mouth is. And I'm not saying that they're gospel or they're right every single time, but you're right more often than not. So I tend to look at those and think that there's real, you know, sentiment there that backs up what the market is doing.
Although one of the betting markets had Eric Swalwell winning the California governor's race. So they do sometimes not see what's out there.
Was it pre-scandal?
Yes, it was pre-scandal.
Pre-scandal.
I'm just saying, you know. I agree.
But yeah, of course, they don't see all the black swans that could potentially be down the pike, obviously. But, you know.
With all this risk in the world, I do find it quite ironic that the U.S. market, the S&P and the NASDAQ, are probably going to close at new records today.
Yeah. Right.
What, the NASDAQ, the AI trade is the risky trade, and the NASDAQ's up 12 days in a row. It hasn't done that in 17 years. As you have all this geopolitical uncertainty around the world, and we're seeing the price of energy, gas prices have come down, but they're still above $4 a gallon.
And you know what's telling? When oil prices rose, originally equities fell. Now that oil prices are rising, equities are still rising. There's been a total decoupling within the way that we think about, and again, not the economy, but the way that we think about the market and oil. And that decoupling has been interesting in the last couple of weeks.
I think they're separating out the war and saying fundamentals are good, stocks are poised to go higher, oil prices will come back, and so we don't need to have these two assets correlate together.
Yeah, I mean, I think important to realize, if you're investing in stocks, you have to have a long-term time horizon. You literally simply can't be looking 1 week or even 1 month into the future. And, you know, there's never been a 10-year period where people have lost money investing in American stocks. I think that'll continue to be the case. Again, my question is where is the action going to be? And I still believe that if we go back to what was working in the first quarter, it was international stocks, it was small cap stocks. It was a lot of the names besides the big cap tech that had led the way. So at Capitalist Pig, that's where I'm looking for opportunities. International, small cap value, I think that leads the market higher from here.
Okay.